Years ago, I was listening to Dr. Michael Savage on his podcast, Savage Nation. He said that he had met Congressman Sonny Bono and had been invited to a meeting of his superiors. Once Bono and Savage were in Bono's office, a man came in and warned the congressman that he'd better do what he was told and then left. This is one reason why I don't believe that our elected representatives are the people in charge of America. They are somehow under threat from the real people who have power. Bono, regarded as an expert skier, was later found dead as a result of a skiing accident. He was known for, come on, look at the camera. Come on. He was known for not going along with the status quo. Ted Gunderson, the former head of the FBI in Los Angeles, claimed that despite an autopsy report that said Bono died as a result of skiing injuries, he had actually been assassinated because he was about to expose an international drug and weapons ring. Having grown up in the 1970s, this sounded familiar to me. At that time, Dr. Jeffrey MacDonald was convicted of murdering his pregnant wife and 2 daughters and sent to prison for the rest of his life. Many people believe he was framed because, as an Army doctor, he blew the whistle on the government that he alleged was sending the bodies of dead soldiers back from Vietnam filled with illicit drugs. Dr. MacDonald remains behind bars to this day. Whistleblowers such as these, as well as Julian Assange, Edward Snowden, Seth Rich, and LAPD officer Houston Tipping, often die in accidents, linger in prison, are victims of unsolved crimes, or die from suicide with 2 bullets to the back of the head. Squealing on those in power is risky business, and few people who dare to do it live to tell about the experience. We, the people, have few, if any, protections to preserve our way of life. The United States of America has slowly become a haven for global corporatists that worship the almighty dollar, and anyone who gets in the way, such as a billionaire with orange hair and a big mouth, may end up with damage to his ear or worse. I was a lifelong Republican in 2008 when I read that Senator John McCain was not only a veteran, but he represented a state where more veterans died at the VA than any other. I wasn't going to vote for that. My father had served as a U.S. Marine during the Korean War, and I support our military wholeheartedly. I didn't know anything about Barack Obama, the other candidate, except that he wasn't John McCain. As it turned out, the McCains, the Obamas, and the Bushes all knew each other and even vacationed together. In short, they were all on the same side, which is what makes choosing a candidate so difficult for people like Tulsi Gabbard and Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who both recently hopped on board the Trump train. In reality, the only way to have a chance for the people to have representation is to vote out the incumbent regardless of his or her party. It is the only way to send a message to Washington that we, the people, don't like what they are doing. Donald Trump was the one person who could save us, only he didn't. The wall at the southern border was never finished, and the parts paid for by the American taxpayer lay on the desert sand, only to be sold off for pennies on the dollar by President Joe Biden or whoever was representing him. While in office, Trump fell in love with DACA recipients who were supposed to be deported, whether they came to America alone or were brought in by their parents. We, the people of California, had voted to deport them since the days of Ronald Reagan, when most of us ran to the polls to vote for him because he too promised to make America great again by deporting them. It was Reagan's slogan first, and Donald copyrighted it. During Trump's first term, citizen journalist Oscar Ramirez went to the border and live streamed on YouTube buses picking up young illegal women and dropping them off at a Catholic school for girls in Laredo, Texas. This was not in keeping with Trump's campaign promises to get them out and keep them out. Likewise, President Reagan betrayed the voters by granting amnesty to an estimated 6 million illegals during his second term. This eventually turned California from red to blue and set the course for the downward spiral of the most beautiful and desirable state in the Union. California Governor Pete Wilson later ran on deporting illegal aliens, yet never mentioned it once he got into office. Voters approved Proposition 187 to deny illegal immigrants welfare benefits, and yet by 1984, one could no longer work at the welfare department in California without being bilingual. Recently, Governor Gavin Newsom granted Medicaid, Medi-Cal in California, benefits to illegal aliens, and doctors' offices and pharmacies are filling with non-English speaking people who do not have to pay. They get Social Security too. And if you go to the Social Security Administration here in San Diego, they're filled with non-English speaking people. How did they earn Social Security if they didn't speak English for all those years? Twice, a recall of the traitorous governor has been launched, but to no avail. Who in the world would vote to support third world peasants? Something fishy is going on. President Donald Trump will no doubt be just as ineffective as ridding America of people with no right to be here as he was before. He will not do what President Dwight D. Eisenhower did decades earlier. He loaded illegal aliens in cattle cars and dropped them off in Mexico. Now people with no right to be here have more entitlements than citizens do, thanks to the United Nations Global Migration Pact and the NGOs that keep allowing them in. No one in power is going to end up behind bars or hung for treason. America is now a playground for the rich. In an interview posted on YouTube, author Whitney Webb pointed out that actually Trump is one of them, a member of the ruling class, and what better way to lull Americans into a false sense of security than to make them think he is actually fighting for them. Reagan was a Democrat in the entertainment business who ran for governor as a Republican. Many voters didn't trust him for that reason, and yet he won due to his overwhelming charisma and campaign promise. Trump was a Democrat in the entertainment business who appeared in a videotape saying that if he ever ran for president, he'd run as a Republican because Republicans are stupid. This seems to be straight out of the playbook for duping the American public. And as we all know, Donald Trump has a lot of charisma and promised to deport the illegals, even though that was not going to happen. Because we have tons of them here in San Diego. Don't tell me we had lower illegal immigration than anywhere else or at any other time, because we've had plenty. I'm now a minority in my own hometown, and I can't even order a hamburger without speaking Spanish. So tell me about it. And once Trump was elected in 2016, he had Ivanka and her husband, Jared Kushner, both said to be Democrats in the White House before he could shut the door behind him. He filled his cabinet with known traitors to America, in other words, globalists such as John Bolton and Mike Pompeo. Oops, he made a mistake, but we'll do better now that he knows who the enemies are. He should have known who they were in the first place. The second term of President Donald Trump will no doubt be no different than the first. Only criminal illegal aliens will be deported, while elderly illegal immigrants, as well as illegal mothers and their anchor babies, will continue to drain the system. 69% of Blacks and Hispanics in California receive some type of government assistance. You can look up the statistics, while only 29% of whites and Asians receive assistance. And yet the answer is to import more of these people who will no doubt support Democrats to be able to stay on the dole. And Donald Trump will continue to provide comic relief as America continues to go downhill. Thank you for listening. Sorry, my little pal here. Come on, come say hello. Come on. She hasn't been very friendly. Come on, Vi. Nah, she didn't want it. She's not into politics. Thank you for listening, and have a good day.